Let's go ahead and jump on in, get snuggy woogie.
All right. So I figured out the GoPro as a webcam. I have other cameras, but this was the easiest. And I bust out my crispy wig for this little video. So, hi. It's the first time we've seen each other, but I just had to bust out the Halloween, or maybe it was something else. I don't remember. Anyways, I got it a couple of years ago, and I thought, oh, how funny would it be? Because I know I said I wasn't going to be a gypsy focused channel, but it's too much fun. And I just wanted to cover Miss Soul and Beauty here. That was a really bad pause. I'm so sorry. I mean, it's the very beginning of your video. But I did want to talk about this as a content creator. This is very, very, very true, what she's about to say. And I'm not going to drag out her whole video because, like, that's her content. So I'm just giving a shout out. You should give her a follow. It's Soul and Beauty. Anyways, run over there, subscribe. She's got a lot of stuff to say, and not just about Gypsy either. So great content. But just listen to what she has to say because, yes.
So you guys remember I was talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard and like the hashtags? Well, sometimes TikTok just does that. Like sometimes your hashtag will just disappear, because I did refine the canceled Gypsy Rose one that had the rose on it. So that one is still up. But let me show you what I saw on YouTube. You guys know I just got to 1,000 subs over there on Yankee Tango, and I am so grateful, you guys. I am so close to being monetized on that app. These are the only hashtags besides Gypsy Rose Manson. That one comes up too, but I think the screen cut it off. There's no longer a Gypsy Rose Blanchard hashtag over.
None. Absolutely zero. You cannot, I mean, you can type it in there. I don't know if they block it or if they remove it. I can still see it on my videos, but she's absolutely correct on that. Absolutely 1000% correct.
Over on Yankee Tango. Now, I didn't even know that you could report hashtags over.
I didn't either.
On Yankee Tango. Like, who does that? Who reports hashtags, y'all? Like, I know I said I was going to do it, but I don't report. I don't block. I don't do that stuff, y'all. I'm not a snitch.
Me neither.
And if you ask me, that hashtag belongs to us anyways. We are the ones that gave it the numbers, not you, Gypsy. And then as I was watching Becca Scoop's video last night, I started thinking about more with Gypsy and her YT channel being dedicated to Aurora and all that.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that there because she's, I think, going to go into something else. I haven't finished watching the video yet, but I did notice the hashtag thing myself, and I thought that was very interesting. I was like, why is that happening? And I thought, oh, I could reach out to somebody, but sometimes either my comments aren't seen or people don't respond, or, you know, they get busy, whatever. But this is a very true thing. It does not show up when you type hashtag. Like, you can see recently used hashtags that you've had on your stuff. So yes, there is no longer just hashtag Gypsy Rose Blanchard. YouTube's probably tired of hearing it. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. But I did want to kind of like float back to the not reporting stuff. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, because she had a video that I just watched prior to this one where she's talking about how nobody's trying to blow them up in a way that they become more popular because of the content that is being created about her now that the FOIAs, all those documents and videos have come out. That's new information, and that's information that would significantly change the narrative. So that's another important thing. And I would go back to that video, but I don't want to, you know, use her content to make my content or whatever. But the point being, she made a valid point. This is information, they're facts. They are pieces of information, in fact, that were never seen by a judge, by a jury, they were simply buried under the plea because nobody was going to go dig in. And this was a point I made on another video. At the time, the Munchausen by proxy diagnosis looked valid. It seemed to be a valid thing. And so I'm sure with caseloads and overloads, they were like, you know what, let's not deal with this. And just like they said in Into the Weeds, they didn't want the backlash from her being the sweetheart of Springfield or whatever. And I'm sure she was at the time. But point being, getting the information out there is important. Now, having said all that, I'm going to say this. I don't agree with sensationalizing any kind of murderer whatsoever, serial killer, whatever. But I don't think that that is what is happening. I do think the consistent coverage of every move that's made could easily go in that direction. But I don't think that I don't think it's in the romanticizing a criminal portion yet. So like, you know, when they made the movies about Ted Bundy or Dahmer, you know, they used attractive celebrities to play those roles. Or, I mean, if you find them attractive, whatever. But the point being, they used that. And then, you know, there was that trend where people were buying the Dahmer glasses. I'm like, what is happening? Why would you be? And maybe that was just a throwback thing, a retro thing, but it's awfully strange that it happened at the same exact time as that series coming out on Netflix. So just going to throw that out there. I don't think that we're at the romanticizing portion of it on the non-followers. I don't think we've gotten that bad, but I do see how covering every little detail, let me get to my point, covering every little detail of what she's doing in her days, if it's not directly paralleling how her behavior was prior to her conviction and arrest, then I don't see how that is going to be beneficial to, because that can become very blown out, unfocused, and it does lose its purpose, because the purpose is for her to be held accountable, because she has no accountability. She has no remorse. She shrugs it off like it was no big deal. Girl, you planned, and it is my opinion that you also helped carry out your mother's deletion. And there should still be remorse. And I feel like you should say, I'm so sorry that I wasn't in my right mind. But it's hard to say that you weren't in your right mind because you plotted and planned. Not only that, you attempted before because you thought a BB gun was real and shot her multiple times. And then she covered for you. I keep hitting my microphone. Sorry if it's loud. I don't know. I won't know that till later. But you having no remorse whatsoever, and by no means am I trying to give you direction on how to start behaving so that you can start fooling the masses, because I'm telling you what, the people that are going to stay on your ass about your BS are going to show the receipts in 6 months when you change your story and you say, oh, well, I've been thinking about it a lot now and I'm so sorry. That should have been every bit of your being. That was your mother. Whether there was any kind of abuse, which I don't think there was, not in that capacity. I don't see it. But all I wanted to say was, yes, there is no longer a hashtag Gypsy Rose Blanchard tag that comes up, even if you've used it she is correct on that. Or, well, I mean, I'm not saying that she wasn't, and I don't think anybody's questioning it. I'm just, I'm backing it up as a content creator. And I'm going to be moving on to other things here. But I just had to back her up on that, and also back her up on the getting the facts out as content creators, because this information is new and it does need to be regurgitated until and to continue on as things continue to come out. You know, I know there's going to be an endpoint to that, and I'm sure that nobody wants to pigeonhole themselves into, oh, just, you know, because what are you going to do after that? You know, you gotta have a plan of attack. And maybe if that's all you're here to do, then kudos that, you know, you're doing it. But anyways, I show all my love and support to everybody who is putting out content, and I appreciate it. And I'm a true crime fan, so why wouldn't I consume? But anyways, that is what I have. Me and my crispy wig. Tell me what I should name her down below in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and please, on all my videos, I have a list of everyone who has been diligently covering this case. I'm not saying you have to go watch my videos, so I'm not pulling a gypsy. But go in my description box. I'll try and put it in this one too. I've got a links to everybody's pages that I have so far, and go give them a follow, especially if you like this kind of content, because I'm not going to stay on it. But good job. Love you all. Thank you. All right. Okay, bye.